ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀਓ। ਆਸਾ ਮਹੱਲਾ ਚੌਥਾ। ਛੰਤ। ਵੱਡਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਗੋਵਿੰਦ, ਅਗਮ ਅਗੋਚਰ, ਆਦ ਨਿਰੰਜਨ ਨਿਰੰਕਾਰ ਜੀਓ। ਤਾਕੀ ਗਤ ਕਹੀ ਨਾ ਜਾਈ, amit ਵਡਿਆਈ, ਮੇਰਾ ਗੋਵਿੰਦ ਅਲਖ ਅਪਾਰ ਜੀਓ। ਵੱਡਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਗੋਵਿੰਦ, ਅਗਮ ਅਗੋਚਰ, ਆਦ ਨਿਰੰਜਨ ਨਿਰੰਕਾਰ ਜੀਓ। ਤਾਕੀ ਗਤ ਕਹੀ ਨਾ ਜਾਈ, ਕੀਮਤ ਵਡਿਆਈ, ਮੇਰਾ ਗੋਵਿੰਦ ਅਲਖ ਅਪਾਰ ਜੀਓ। ਗੋਵਿੰਦ ਅਲਖ ਅਪਾਰ, ਅਪਰੰਪਰ, ਆਪ ਆਪਣਾ ਜਾਣੈ। ਕਿਆ ਇਹ ਜੰਤ ਵਿਚਾਰੇ ਕਹੀਐ, ਜੋ ਤੁਧ ਆਖ ਵਖਾਣੈ। ਜਿਸਨੂੰ ਨਦਰ ਕਰੇ ਤੂੰ ਆਪਣੀ, ਸੋ ਗੁਰਮੁਖ ਕਰੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਜੀਓ। ਵੱਡਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਗੋਵਿੰਦ, ਅਗਮ ਅਗੋਚਰ, ਆਦ ਨਿਰੰਜਨ ਨਿਰੰਕਾਰ ਜੀਓ। ਤੂੰ ਆਦ ਪੁਰਖ ਪਰੰਪਰ ਕਰਤਾ, ਤੇਰਾ ਪਾਰ ਨਾ ਪਾਇਆ ਜਾਏ ਜੀਓ। ਤੂੰ ਘਟ ਘਟ ਅੰਤਰ, ਸਰਬ ਨਿਰੰਤਰ, ਸਭ ਮਹਿ ਰਹਾ ਸਮਾਏ ਜੀਓ। ਘਟ ਅੰਤਰ ਪਾਰ ਬ੍ਰਹਮ ਪਰਮੇਸ਼ਰ, ਤਾਕਾ ਅੰਤ ਨਾ ਪਾਇਆ। ਤਿਸ ਰੂਪ ਨਾ ਰੇਖ, ਅਦਿਸ਼ਟ ਅਗੋਚਰ, ਗੁਰਮੁਖ ਅਲਖ ਲਖਾਇਆ। ਸਦਾ ਆਨੰਦ ਰਹਿ ਦਿਨ ਰਾਤੀ, ਸਹਜੇ ਨਾਮ ਸਮਾਏ ਜੀਓ। ਤੂੰ ਆਦ ਪੁਰਖ ਪਰੰਪਰ ਕਰਤਾ, ਤੇਰਾ ਪਾਰ ਨਾ ਪਾਇਆ ਜਾਏ ਜੀਓ। ਤੂੰ ਸਤ ਪਰਮੇਸ਼ਰ ਸਦਾ ਅਬਨਾਸੀ, ਹਰ ਹਰ ਗੁਣੀ ਨਿਧਾਨ ਜੀਓ। ਹਰ ਹਰ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਏਕੋ ਅਵਰ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ, ਤੂੰ ਆਪੇ ਪੁਰਖ ਸਜਾਣ ਜੀਓ। ਪੁਰਖ ਸਜਾਣ ਤੂੰ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ, ਤੁਧ ਜੇ ਵਡਿਆਵਰ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ। ਤੇਰਾ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸਭ ਤੂੰ ਹੈ ਵਰਤ ਹੈ, ਤੂੰ ਆਪੇ ਕਰਹਿ ਸੋ ਹੋਈ। ਹਰ ਸਭ ਮਹਿ ਰਵਿਆ ਏਕੋ ਸੋਈ, ਗੁਰਮੁਖ ਲਖਿਆ ਹਰ ਨਾਮ ਜੀਓ। ਤੂੰ ਸਤ ਪਰਮੇਸ਼ਰ ਸਦਾ ਬਿਨਾਸੀ, ਹਰ ਹਰ ਗੁਣੀ ਨਿਧਾਨ ਜੀਓ। ਸਭ ਤੂੰ ਹੈ ਕਰਤਾ, ਸਭ ਤੇਰੀ ਵਡਿਆਈ, ਜੋ ਭਾਵੇ ਤਿਵੈ ਚਲਾਏ ਜੀਓ। ਤੁਧ ਆਪੇ ਭਾਵੈ ਤਿਵੈ ਚਲਾਵਹਿ, ਸਭ ਤੇਰਾ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸਮਾਏ ਜੀਓ। ਸਭ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸਮਾਵੈ ਜਾਂ, ਤੁਧ ਭਾਵੈ ਤੇਰਾ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਵਡਿਆਈ। ਗੁਰਮੁਖ ਬੁੱਧ ਪਾਈਐ, ਆਪ ਗਵਾਈਐ, ਸ਼ਬਦੇ ਰਹਿਆ ਸਮਾਈ। ਤੇਰਾ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਗੋਚਰ ਗੁਰਮੁਖ ਪਾਈਐ, ਨਾਨਕ ਨਾਮ ਸਮਾਏ ਜੀਓ। ਸਭ ਤੂੰ ਹੈ ਕਰਤਾ, ਸਿਰ ਤੇਰੀ ਵਡਿਆਈ, ਜੋ ਭਾਵੈ ਤਿਵੈ ਚਲਾਏ ਜੀਓ। ਤੇਰਾ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਗੋਚਰ ਗੁਰਮੁਖ ਪਾਈਐ, ਨਾਨਕ ਨਾਮ ਸਮਾਏ ਜੀਓ। ਸਭ ਤੂੰ ਹੈ ਕਰਤਾ, ਸਭ ਤੇਰੀ ਵਡਿਆਈ, ਜੋ ਭਾਵੈ ਤਿਵੈ ਚਲਾਏ ਜੀਓ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, today's Sri Darbar Sahib Hukamnama Sahib is by Guru Ramdas ਜੀ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ, ਚੌਥੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਸੋਢੀ ਸੁਲਤਾਨ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ। ਇੱਕ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਭਾਟ ਕੀਰਤ ਕੀ, ਗੁਰੂ ਰਾਮਦਾਸ ਰੱਖ ਹੋ ਸ਼ਰਨਾਈ। ਸੋ ਗੁਰੂ ਰਾਮਦਾਸ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ, ਇਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਉਚਾਰਿਆ in Asa Raag. Asa, ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, can be translated, when we translate it literally, Asa can be translated to hope. But over here, Asa Raag is that Raag of yearning. Yearning to be one with Vaheguru Ji. And Sangat Ji, the truth is we're all yearning, whether we know it or not. All it is, some of us are aware of that yearning and some of us aren't. And we're all going different ways about trying to fill that hole, fill that gap, that yearning that we've all got inside. To try and understand that, let's go through Guru Ramdas Ji Sache Paatshah Ji's Pavan Pitra Bani. Aao Sangat ji, vaddaa, meraa, govind, agam, agochar. Guru Ram Das Ji Paatshah Ji, throughout this Shabad, they are praising Waheguru Ji, and they're saying, and they're reminding us, this is Guru Ram Das Ji Paatshah Ji's first-hand experience of Waheguru Ji, but they're reminding us, they're helping us to become more conscious, to say, look, Sangat Ji, sometimes we fall into this trap in trying to want to know the limits of Waheguru, is trying to intellectualize everything, trying to understand everything with this little mind that we have. But Sadhguru Ji Sache Paatshah, he says that vaddaa meraa govind, but this govind of mine, govind means Waheguru Ji, go, dharti, vind can also be translated to the one that is the protector of this earth, the one that is taking care of this entire creation. That creator, that Waheguru Ji, that master, vaddaa meraa govind, Guru Ram Das Ji Paatshah saying that govind is so great, vaddaa is so great. Agam, agochar, what else is that govind? Agam. Gam, Sangat Ji, comes from the word gaman. Gaman means something that we can actually reach out to and grasp and get hold of. They're saying that Waheguru Ji is out of reach. And sometimes if we say that, it can get confusing, because we can think then, what's the point of anything? What's the point of bhakti? What's the point of trying to have union with Waheguru Ji if Waheguru Ji is out of reach? But then Guru Sahib Ji they say agochar. Agochar, Sangat Ji, means out of reach of our senses. And again, to look at that in a little bit more depth, it means that Waheguru Ji cannot be captured with these mere senses. And Sangat Ji, we all know that's how true that is. Our eyesight goes only so far. Our eyesight sees only so much. Even that, Sangat Ji, it's not necessarily the absolute way a particular animal's eyes are perceiving this world could be different to the way these eyes are perceiving the world. So Sangat Ji, that even these eyes, what we see today, what we think, when we look around, it can only see so far, it can only see so much. You can only see so much depth. And then Paatshah saying agam agochar, that Waheguru Ji is out of reach of these senses. But Sangat Ji, these senses are very useful to survive in this world. These senses, Sangat Ji, it's because of these senses that we've been able to do so much tarakki, we've been able to achieve so much and understand so much as well about Waheguru Ji's creation. That's why today somebody is able to sit on an aeroplane and get across the other side of the world, because somebody has used these senses to look at something, to understand something, and then to actually create something where we can actually fly up in the air. So all these things are needed. These senses have got their own place. But Sangat Ji, but Waheguru, that creator, to know the limits, to think that we can know the limits of that creator with these mere account, with these ears, with this touch sense, it cannot be done. So that Waheguru Ji is out of reach of these senses. Then Paatshah saying Ad Niranjan, that Waheguru Ji is Ad. Ad, Sangat Ji, means that one that was there right from the beginning. And what happens is, sometimes even when I see the word Sabang translated, and sometimes we'll see it translated to self-created, and what that does to the mind is, the mind starts to think that Waheguru Ji came about at some point. Self-created mean that Waheguru Ji didn't exist, and then Waheguru Ji made themselves and then started to exist. When we say the one that was there right from the beginning, we could start, when we think that they may have been a beginning. But no, Paatshah Ji clear this for us as well. It says Ad, Anil, Anad, Anahad, that one that was there. When Paatshah say right from the beginning, beginning means that when this creation came about, Waheguru Ji existed still then as nirankaar Swarup, as the formless. It didn't mean that formless Waheguru Ji then didn't exist anymore. Even when the creation came, that Waheguru Ji still existed then, right, even in the beginning of when time began. But then Waheguru Ji is Anad has no beginning. There was never a time when Waheguru Ji did not exist. Waheguru Ji has always been Anad, no beginning, Unad. So Sangat Ji, when we say Sapang, it doesn't mean Sapang in the sense of Waheguru Ji self-created in the way that there was a time when there was no Waheguru, then Waheguru Ji appeared. It means that there was no other external entity, there was nothing else that actually had took part in creating Waheguru Ji. It means that Waheguru Ji hasn't needed anyone, there hasn't been anyone else, and Waheguru Ji has just always been. So Sangat Ji, Waheguru Ji, they're saying here, that one that has been there from the beginning of when time began. And how is this relevant for us to know? Sometimes we think, oh wow, okay, Waheguru Ji is this, Waheguru Ji is that. How is that so relevant for me? It's relevant for us to know that our true self, our Atma, our soul, has no beginning and has no end as well. And when we live in this fear of something coming to an end, is because until we think we are this body, and this body started at some point, it came about at one point, and then we've got this fear that it's going to come to an end one day. Jo upajio, whatever comes into being, jo upajio so binasaha, that will one day perish. So we've got this fear of that we're going to come to an end as being relevant for what's going on now. There's been a lot of talk, Sangat Ji, about some Gurdwara Sahibs that are going to be closing their doors because of the widespread of the virus. They're saying there's over 5,000 cases now. There's the biggest growth within these last 24 hours of the amount of people that have died, which has been over 50. And then there's this fear now, is this going to happen to me as well? Am I going to come to an end? Because I think there was a beginning to me, because I think I'm the body, so I think now I'm going to come to an end. So binasa hai. Paro aaj ke kaal, whether that be paro aaj, paro parson in 2 days time, aaj ke kaal, whether that's going to be tomorrow, and we're thinking, is that going to be a lot sooner than I had expected in my mind? Even though Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paat is saying, Hum aadmi ha ekdami maholat maut na jana, even though Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paat is saying that what is death? Death, Guru Nanak Dev Ji saying, maaf karna, let me rephrase that. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paat is saying, when can you expect death to come? They're saying death can come any moment. You've taken this breath in, you don't know if you're going to take the next breath, and that might be it. But even though Guru Nanak Dev Ji has given us that wisdom, but still in our mind we put it off, we might still think, we've got it planned out, we think 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So, but now people are panicking with that, maybe that time for my loved one's going to come, I need to protect my loved one. But Sangat Ji, and then people today, there's talks about some of the Gurdwaras even having to shut their doors because they are taking precautions not to spread the virus even further. And Sangat Ji, we've had requests, I've had personal requests on my Facebook saying, please talk about this topic, that this is wrong. But Sangat Ji, we have no place to say that. As an individual, as an even organization, we can't come to that conclusion to say this is wrong or this is right. This is a very difficult time, and it's going to take a lot of contemplation, and those that are taking that step and decision, they are obviously thinking and taking some form of guidance from professionals, from medics, of what the situation is and what situation could occur. We are no one to judge anyone that is closing the doors. We are no one to judge anyone that isn't closing their doors. It's a difficult time to come to a decision at the moment, and it's a time of deep contemplation and actual discussions and looking at the situation and the reality of the situation for what it is. So Sangat Jiyo, Guru Har Rai Sache Paatshah Ji, they took in people that were ill. They took in people that even were lepers, that had those type of illnesses and diseases. that people would be scared if it was to spread to someone else. Those type of diseases, you know, koor di bamari kende sige, that to have leprosy and people wouldn't touch them or wouldn't go anywhere near them, they would be outcasted. Guru Harai Sache Pachaji, they embraced them, they took them in, but Sangat Jeeo, we can't all do reese, we can't all to think we can be par on with our Guru, with Guru Harai Pachaji, for example. Yes, there's bakshisha in the Guru's house, but there's so much to think about, Sangat Jeeo. So the Gursikhs are still forever ready to serve, and as you could see, the likes of Midland, Langar Seva, SWAT, they haven't turned their backs. They're still out there on the streets serving as much as they can. So Sangaji, we've got this fear. We've got this fear now, and all these decisions, some of these decisions are coming out of mere fear. Some of them are looking at the situation and being realistic, but some things are coming out of fear. We've all got this fear. How is this relevant to us about Aad? Aad about Waheguruji was there from the time when it began. Waheguruji was there before. And we're thinking, okay, well, what does that matter for me? It matters for me is because I've got this fear of death, and then because I think I'm body and I'm going to come to an end, and I think that's only about Waheguruji, but no, this is about that part of Waheguruji that is inside of us, what we call the soul. And if we were to realize we are that soul, then we would realize actually the true sense of me, what I actually am, is Aad. I've always been there, even when time began. Even when this body came about, when I was given this physical body, I still existed then, the true me. And I realized that I'm just entering this vehicle that is going to be a temporary vehicle. Sangaji, this whole life is about getting to that place of realizing our true self. Aap sawara hai, main mile. I'm here to cleanse my mind to meet my true self. Not to meet anyone external, but to meet me, who I am. Then this will then all make sense to us. That Aad, the beginning, Anad, that I have no beginning, but I can only say that when I get to that. Until I think that I still identify myself with body and mind and thoughts, then the truth is there is an ending for me. But there will be no fear when I meditate on Waheguruji's name and go to that place of having that realization of Atma. Then I'll know that I am Aad, Anil, Anad, Anahat, that cannot be destroyed, that has got no beginning, that has got no end. Sangatji, then there will be no fear. In that place, Sangatji, then nobody will have to say to us, don't hate. When we can actually see that everything else is just a reflection of what is inside of me and there is nothing else, then there is no one to hate. Then nobody will have to come and teach me about not hating. There just won't be anything to hate. That's why better than actual us doing presentations and trying to understand hatred and not having hatred for others, the better thing to do would be is to actually do that, what takes us to that place where there is no hatred left, is to actually meditate and lose that identity, is to actually serve and lose that false identity where we actually see everything is just an expansion of what is inside of me. Sangaji, Aad. And then that Waheguruji, Guru Ram Das Ji Pachaji saying is Niranjan. Niranjan comes from the word Anjan. Anjan means mascara, mascara being black, referring to Maya and referring to this illusion that we get stuck in, starting to think that this is all real. But just like that mahal, just like that palace that the Pandavas had built, and when Duryodhana came, he actually thought that it was just some type of beautiful flooring. He didn't realize actually it was water. He was even warned that it's just an illusion, that actually that's not solid flooring, that's actually water. But because the way the water had been designed, the colors that had been put in the water, it looked like it was solid floor. He stepped into it and he fell into it. And Samiji, and that is something teaching us very deep, teaching us about illusion. That we start to think that what we see is actually permanent and is actually real. We get entangled in it. We were here to enjoy this, but instead we get entangled in it. But Waheguruji is niranjan, hasn't got that veil of maya, that illusion. That illusion cannot get into Waheguruji, meaning that if we realize that we are the Atma, then there is no illusion for us. Then it's like we'll be the third person. We'll be able to have a clear picture of being able to see our body as a vehicle, being able to see our mind and thoughts as a tool to survive in this world. We'll be able to see everything else in that way as something that is separate from this, but have the ability to enjoy all of it as well, because we're here in life not to run away from it, but to be a part of it and to enjoy food, to enjoy the sun, to enjoy the rain, to enjoy all of these elements. Namo jog joge, namo pog poge. Waheguruji is the enjoyer of all enjoyers. Waheguruji is the one, but is detached, is jog joge, is detached from all of this as well. Niranjan, nirankaar, jeeo, you are nirankaar, you are formless. But Waheguruji, you are the form and you are formless. So Sangaji, when we actually realize the formless, then we'll be able to enjoy the form for its true sense, because we won't be entangled in it. Jeeo taki gat kehee na jaaee. Guru Ram Das Ji Paat Singh, taki gat. Gat means state. Saying kehee na jaaee, say Waheguruji, your state cannot be said, meaning your avastha. I could speak about somebody else, that what their state of mind is like. I could say, look, they're in constant mode of compassion. You could see that, understand that to some extent, because you see from their actions, you can see that they're full of compassion. But compassion itself, the depth of compassion itself cannot be understood with this mind. You can see an act of compassion, but Sangaji, but Waheguruji's Gat cannot be comprehended, cannot be understood. We can never think of what Waheguruji is up to, the way Waheguruji has planned all of this, the way Waheguruji has designed all of this creation. We can never comprehend it in full. We start to realize certain things of Waheguruji's creation, and that's how we're able to do things, because we start tapping into certain elements of Waheguruji's creation, of Waheguruji's laws of the creation, but not to the full extent. Taki gat kehee na jaaee. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paat Ji say, kende har byan taho mit kar varno, kya jana hoye kaise re. You are limitless, har byan taho mit kar varno. But when I try and explain anything about you, I never do justice. I always say less than what you actually are, because you cannot be described. Amit, vaddiaaee, meraa. Paat saying, amit vaddiaaee, your greatness, Waheguruji's amit, is immeasurable, cannot be measured. Meraa, govind, hey mere govind, hey Waheguruji, you are immeasurable. Alakh, apaar, jeeo. Alakh means something that cannot be seen. It's that one that can be understood in entirety, because we understand elements of Waheguruji's laws, but we can never say that we understand it in full. If we did, then we would have been able to understand. We would have had a cure for cancer today. We would have known everything. But it's not to say that we won't be able to tap into that law of Waheguruji and find what Waheguruji has given to us in this dharti and find cures for these things. But we'll never know everything. We'll never know the complete limit of Waheguruji, as we don't know now as well. Bahota kehee, as we say that you are so great, and we know and we think I know you now up to this much. Bahota hoye, but there'll be so much more that is revealed to me to think that, you know what, I thought I already knew everything about you, Waheguruji. Govind, alakh, apaar, aparampar. Saying Govind, alakh, apaar, aparampar. Govind, hey Waheguruji, You are alakh, like we just went through that one that cannot be seen incomplete. Apar, you are apar. Par meaning comes from the word par. Par means limit, where you can actually get across the ocean, get to the other side. But there is no other side to you because you don't come to an end. You are apar, you are limitless. Vaheguruji, aparampar. Aparampar comes from the word parspar. Parspar, Sangatji, means that when we need someone and we take the sahara, we take the support of someone. People have emotional needs. They feel that they need that love from somebody else. But Sangatji, Vaheguruji isn't like that. And when we try and realize and go deep inside, we'll see that the more that we're trying to get love from somebody else, when we become emotionally dependent on someone, the more we realize we'll be suffering more and more until we become that form of love inside. When our emotions become so pleasant that our emotions are filled with love from inside, and that love does not discriminate, we don't then seek for that emotion, that love from anyone else, then it's we become that. We are then we become independent. We then become aparampar. We need to become aparampar ourselves. We need to become that form of love ourselves, Sangatji. So Pachaji here is saying that govind, alakh, apar, aparampar, aap apna jaanai. Pacha saying aap apna jaanai. That Vaheguruji only knows the limits of themselves. Only Vaheguruji knows the extent of themselves. Meaning that aap apna jaanai. What does that mean for us? It means for us, Sangatji, that the only way we can know Vaheguruji is to become Vaheguruji. We cannot know Vaheguruji, we cannot experience Vaheguruji purely with this mind. We can understand certain things of Vaheguruji's laws, but to know Vaheguruji means to become Vaheguruji. There's one thing saying that Vaheguruji is everywhere. There's one thing, and then there's actually experiencing that what I actually am, is everywhere. So Pachaji here is saying that aap apna jaane, we will only know ourselves is when we become that. Kya jant vichare kehee. What can this poor creature, meaning even this human being, this mind of mine, what can it say about Vaheguruji? Can only say so much, can only understand so much. Jo to the alakh vakhane. There's one thing saying, like I said, I say this again, there's one thing saying Vaheguruji is everywhere, and then there's experiencing that Vaheguruji is everywhere. Jo to the alakh vakhane. Who is it that can actually say, vakhane, explain what you are in complete? There isn't anybody. Just know nadar kare tum apni, but those that you actually glance your vision upon, Vaheguruji. So Gurmukh kare vichar jeeo, that Gurmukh, that being then through the Guru, taking asra of the Guru, kare vichar, can actually then contemplate. Can then contemplate doesn't mean to think with your mind. Contemplate means when you go, it can be, contemplation can be triggered by the wisdom that our Guru gives us. But then we go so deep inside, and then contemplation is when we actually realize something. So vichar jeeo, and this isn't what, we don't do this enough today. We're just trying to, we read this, we watch that, we read this, we watch that, and we keep doing that, but we don't actually read something and then contemplate it to try and actually see from the true essence, from inside. So Sangatji then Pacha is saying that Katha antar par brahm parameshwar, just like we just said, the example that we just used. Katha means heart, Katha means core, the core of everything. Katha antar, that organ, Katha, heart is that organ that everything revolves, something that in the middle of something that is actually making everything work. Katha antar, within the heart of antar is who? Par Brahm. Vaheguruji exists within the hearts of everyone, within the core of everything. That be the water, that be the earth, that be the wind, that be our body, everything, at the core of everything is Waheguru Ji. Kat antar par brahm parameshwar, that Waheguru Ji Parameshwar is in everything. Taka antna paya. So then how can we ever know the limit of that? We can't. We can only become that. Nadiya ateva pavahit samundana jani. We cannot know it, but we can become it. So Path is saying this roop na rek adisht agochar, this roop, that our atma samiji, that paramatma, and which is then that paramatma is the same quality. Our atma is the same quality as that paramatma that is everywhere, of Vaheguruji that is everywhere, that one that is everywhere. This roop na rek has no form, has no rek, has no outline. But Sangaji, we get so stuck in form, we get so stuck in beauty and form, we constantly, that's all we're comparing against. Somebody else looks like this is like that, and we look down on other people because of that. We're so stuck in somebody's shape, the way somebody looks, and sometimes we can't even bear to look at somebody because of the way they look. And being stuck in that, Sangaji, how can we ever realize? That just shows the more we're stuck in beauty, the more we're stuck in somebody's outline, their form, their rekha, that shows how far, how distant we are from our Atma, how distant we are from Vaheguruji. So Sangaji, but that one, our Atma, has no roop, has no form, has no outline. It is completely formless. Meaning it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't discriminate against somebody for the way they look, for their beauty, for their shape. So Sangaji Pachaji here is saying that tum aad purkh aparampar karta, jisnu nazar kare vichar, vaddaa meraa govind, agam agochar, aad niranjan nirankaar jeeo. Pathji is saying jisnu nazar kare tum apni, so gurmukh kare vichar jeeo, vaddaa meraa govind. And over here Path is saying vaddaa meraa govind. So they say those same lines again. So after saying jisnu nazar kare tum apni, upon those that you glance your vision on, so gurmukh kare vichar jeeo, is talking about vichar jeeo. And then Pathji saying that vaddaa meraa govind, agam agochar, aad niranjan nirankaar jeeo. Those lines we've already gone through. To aad purkh aparampar karta, that Vaheguruji, that you are that one that exists right from the beginning. Aad. Tum aad purkh, you are that being that exists when time came into being. Aparampar, which we've already translated. Aparampar, again that same word we've already translated. Karta tera, par na paya jeeo. Your limit cannot be known, O Creator Vaheguruji. Tu kat antar. Sangaji, so we was going through this, that tu kat antar. You are within each and every heart. Sarv nirantar. Within everyone, sab meh rahya samay, you are absorbed in everything. Kat antar par brahm parameshwar, that you, hey Parameshwar Vaheguruji, are in everything. Sangaji, maaf karna, I accidentally skipped to this pankti, this roop na rek, and I missed a few other previous panktiyan. So coming back to this now, we was on this roop na rek adisht agochar, that hey Vaheguruji, that you are adisht, you cannot be seen merely with these senses. Agochar, you are beyond these senses. Gurmukh alakh lakhaya, but a Gurmukh Sangatji, the one that gives themselves, surrenders to their Guru, alakh lakhaya, they're able to start lakhaya, the one that is alakh, the one that is unseen, the one that cannot be understood. They actually lakhaya, they understand and they see that Vaheguru, mean they become the form of that Vaheguru. Sada anand rahe din rati, Path is saying Sada anand. Only when we then become that form of that Vaheguruji, when that veil of illusion breaks, when that ego dispels, then Path is saying Sada anand rahe din rati, then we'll be in constant anand, we'll be in constant bliss. Din rati, day, din rati and night. Sahaje naam samay jeeo. Through Naam, we will then absorb into that Sahaja, into that Vaheguruji that is completely just balanced, that is one. Naam, through Guru Sahib Ji giving us Naam, through meditating on Vaheguruji's Naam, we will be able to merge back with Vaheguruji. Tu aad purkh aparampar karta. You are that aad purkh, the one that exists right from the beginning. Pathji here, they're being very repetitive, and when Pathji is being repetitive, it's Guru Sahib Ji doing Simran on that Vaheguruji, in that remembrance of Vaheguruji, And we can feel that as well. Tu aad, you are there, you that purkh, that being that is there right from the beginning of time, aparampar, that isn't dependent on anyone. Karta, tera, paar na paya jiyo, your limit cannot be known, hey Vaheguru Ji. Tu Sat Parameshwar, you are that Parameshwar, you are that Vaheguru Ji, that is the form of Sat, is the form of truth that will always exist. Sada Abhinasi, you cannot be destroyed, Vaheguru Ji. Our Atma cannot be destroyed. When we realize we're the Atma, then we realize that actually that I cannot be destroyed. No virus in this world can actually get to my Atma, and I will actually, and I can't be destroyed. I can never come to an end. Har Guni Nidan Jeeo Vaheguru Ji, Hey Hari, through your name, through reciting your name again and again and connecting to you, Guni Nidan, I will then have access to that Nidan, the treasure, that treasure of all the qualities of compassion, of truth, of contentment that lie inside of me already. Har Har Prabh Eko Avar Na Koi. Har Har Prabh Eko Avar Na Koi. There is only but you. There is nothing but you. Prabh Eko. There is nothing else. Avar Na Koi. There is no second. There is no anything else but you. Vaheguru Ji, tu ape purkh sajan jiyo. You yourself is that purkh, is that being that is sujan, that is all wise, is all knowing. Purkh sujan, tu pradhan, you are the chief, you are the top of everything. You are sujan, you are all knowing. Tu the jevad avar na koi. There is nobody like you, Vaheguru Ji. Tera shabd sab tu hai varte. Tera shabd sab tu hai varte. You are residing within your shabd, within your word, meaning within your laws, within your hukam. And then tu ape karhe so hoi. Only that happens what you do. Nobody can escape your laws, Vaheguru Ji. Har sab mein rahya, har sab mein ravya eko soi. That Vaheguru Ji, that you are immersed in everything. Soi gurmukh lakhya na naam, gurmukh lakhya har naam jiyo. Hey Vaheguru Ji, through that name that you give me, that I meditate on, that through the Guru, that lakhya, that I come to then understand you. We can never understand Vaheguru Ji with this mind, but we become Vaheguru Ji's form. Tu Sat Parameshwar Sada Abhinasi. Hey Vaheguru Ji, you are the form of truth. Sada Abhinasi, you are constant, you will always remain Abhinasi, you cannot be destroyed. Har Har Guni Nidan Jiyo. Vaheguru Ji, through your name I have access to all your qualities like contentment. Contentment is something that we need very much at this moment. Not panic buying and then not being considerate, and where food is running out and food is running short in food banks, with those that really need that food that haven't really got anything, not being considerate, where there's no food being remained and left for those that are homeless, that go to these, depend on these food banks, because we're not content inside and we're panicking so much, Sangat Ji, that we're stocking up food for a good 2 years. But no, when the government keeps telling us again and again, don't panic buy, there is enough food in this country for everyone, but only if you buy sensibly, because now it is already having an effect. They're saying £1 billion worth of food has been bought in these last few days. So we've got to connect to Vaheguru Ji, and when we connect to these qualities, then we won't make such stupid decisions and rash decisions and not be so inconsiderate then. And then Pachi is saying that Sab tu hai karta, sab teri vaddiaaee hai, Vaheguru Ji, that you are the doer of everything. It is only your greatness, jo bhave tive chalai jeeo, as you do, that is only what I can then. That let's look at this. Pachi is saying jo bhave, what pleases you, tive chalai, that's how you are doing everything. Meaning that we have no power over the laws of Vaheguru Ji. Tud ape bhave tive chalave, whatever is pleasing to you, that is what you are doing, Vaheguru Ji. Sab tere shabd samaye jeeo. Everybody is absorbed in your hukam, in your laws, Vaheguru Ji. Nobody can escape them. Sab shabd samave jatud bhave. Everybody then absorbs into your hukam as it is pleasing to you. Tere shabd vaddiaaee. It is the greatness of your Shabad, it is the greatness of your laws, Waheguru Ji, because there is nothing greater than that, because we cannot do anything above your laws. Gurumukh Bodh Paiya, is through the Guru we get this understanding that nobody can tamper with your laws, Waheguru Ji. Aap gavaiye, only when I lose my ego, Shabde Reha Samai, then I remain absorbed in your hukam, in your command, Waheguru Ji. Tera Shabad agochar, your Shabad, even your laws, all Waheguru Ji, of creation are agochar, are out of reach of my senses. Remember, Sangaji means out of reach, incomplete. There's certain things we start to understand, and that's how we're able to have so many things and do so many things. Gurmukh Paiye, it is only Tera Shabad agochar, Gurmukh Paiye, Pach saying, but through the Guru we can start understanding and we can start absorbing into your hukam. Nanak Naam Samay Jeeo. And how is it that we absorb into your hukam and start to live in your will? Through your naam, Waheguru Ji. Sab tu hai karta, sab teri vaddiaaee. Everything is you, Waheguru Ji. Everything is your greatness. Jo pave teve chalaye jeeo, as you please. You are doing everything. So Sangat Ji, it's a very long Hukamnama, and I've set myself this rule that I will go through every Pangati. Forgive me for my mistake that I skipped a few Pangatiyan before, and then that I caused some confusion. And I know I was very quick and literally just ripping through the last part, but to be honest, because it was repetitive, and I went into detail in the beginning, so, and this was then just Akri Arth, Sangat Ji, that Waheguru Ji's Beyant, and I'm not doing any justification to translating Guru Sahib Ji's Bani. It's just only the true Brahmagyanis that are in that place, that truly understand Waheguru Ji's game, that have immersed with Waheguru Ji. But Sangat Ji, one thing we can do is yearn to be there. And for me, that's what I got out of this Hukamnama, is to say, I'm going to keep suffering until I become one with you, Waheguru Ji. But to become one with you, Waheguru Ji, I need to yearn. I need to have this inner yearning, this pain. And that pain of yearning, of becoming one with you, will create my path and my bhakti to become one with you. So Sangat Ji, let's do ardas that we get this thirst, we get this yearning to be one. Only that yearning can take us to that one. Only becoming the one we can live in Anand, live in bliss. And then we will still be proactive when these diseases and viruses come. We will be proactive because we'll be working from compassion to look after the complete entire humanity, but we won't be working out of fear, because we will know that I actually can't come to an end. But Waheguru Ji has given me this body to become one with you. So before this body comes to an end, I need to get that yearning to become one with you. Waheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji ki Fateh. Satnam, Satnam, Satnam Ji. Waheguru, Waheguru, Waheguru Ji. Waheguru Ji ka Khalsa.